The Thunder's playing games in the 80s with a defensive mindset and, for the most part, a more under-control point guard. Isn't this what P.J. Carlesimo had in mind? From the Opubco studios in Oklahoma City, I'm Mike Sherman, and you're watching The Press Row, here to talk about the new and so far improved Oklahoma City Thunder. Our Oklahoma columnist John Rohde, Barry Trammell, and Jenny Carlson. Jenny, you were at the game, not covering it for us, but here's my question. The Thunder's built mostly on these three sensational young offensive stars, yet so far, isn't the identity being shaped more by older defensive players?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, guys, last night I was really impressed with the play of Thabo Sefolosha, obviously, but Thabo Thomas, I mean, he came in and really provided some identity, I thought, in their interior defense. And those guys really, to me, were the players of the game without much question at all. To see Kevin Durant struggle like he did in the fourth quarter and in the overtime, offensively, not great. Obviously, Jeff Green had some good offensive numbers early. Russell Westbrook struggling. Those guys need to get it going. I think they will, but clearly those defensive guys, I think, really set a tone, John.
We all know that they're young, that the Thunder's young across the board pretty much. But it's finding the right mix, Barry, finding the stabilizing forces. I assume that's why Kevin Ollie's playing so much early. And you mentioned last night how good Thabo Thomas is. Terrific timing. What a great presence inside.
You know, he played high school ball here. And then I actually went to one of his games. Oklahoma State played him in college when he was at Syracuse in the NCAA tournament. And then he's been in the league for 7, 8 years. I had no idea how good the guy is. How could teams let him go? Big, strong, athletic. He was 2 feet off the ground on one rebound, and when he got his hands on the ball, two things. When he gets his hands on the ball gets got. It's not floating around and tapping around. When he gets it, he's got it, and his elbows start swinging, and opponents scatter. They don't want any part of Thabo Thomas when he's rebounding the ball.
I think, Barry, I think Thomas could play every game, could start every game, even if it's a matchup thing. How frequently does a matchup favor Kirstich? I mean, well, it favors each.
The last 2 games, his minutes have gone way up, and you're talking about Portland and the Lakers, who are really good inside compared to Sacramento and Detroit. So against some of those teams, I think Kirstich will get the majority of the minutes. But when they're playing a team that's pretty good inside, it's got to be Thabo Thomas.
Well, nearly everybody in the league has got a perimeter scorer, and it appears that the Thunder is coming up with a great weapon to detonate that in Thabo Sefolosha. It's rare, isn't it? We sit around and think about what's our advance angle going to be for these games. Sometimes we write about advances that, I mean, they're blown up in the first quarter. Here's one that Darnell writes for the Laker game. Can Thabo Sefolosha be a defensive stopper? Barry, he looked like he played the part extremely well.
Played very well yesterday. Now, Kobe was sick, but even a sick Kobe is still probably the planet's best perimeter player. So, very solid performance by Sefolosha.
The fact that he could have been the offensive deciding factor in this game, that he was such a defensive presence in, to me, guys, that says that his game has come around a lot. He is a much more complete player already this year than he was last year, where he was such a defensive guy. You know, I think offensively he's added some great dimensions to his game. He's becoming quite a little weapon for this team.
How much credit for Durant's frustrations late in the game should go to the Laker defense, and how much blame to Kevin? Jenny?
I think Kevin Durant has a large share of that blame. I mean, obviously the Lakers have a really good defensive team. Obviously they're known for their firepower, but I mean, Ron Artest and Kobe will guard you. I mean, they'll guard you out there. So I think there is obviously some credit that has to go to the Lakers, but guys, Kevin Durant is struggling right now, and when you're a superstar, when you're paid the superstar money, you gotta hit shots down the stretch and in crunch time. Kevin Durant had a chance to do that on multiple occasions last night, did not. He's gonna have to change that if this team really wants to take the big steps forward into being a playoff contender.
See, I thought Kevin Durant recovered nicely from Sunday, Barry, against the Portland. He made 10 of his first 18 shots, but like Scott Brooks told you last night, LA turned up the heat. I mean, they look really sharp on TV, but when you see them in person, you go, holy smoke. These guys are huge, they're athletic, they're long. Ron Artest, I see what you're saying, but congratulations, Ron Artest is going to guard you out in the parking lot. Let's see how you do.
Well, Ron Artest, we hope Thabo Sefolosha grows up to be Ron Artest as a ball player, not as necessarily as an emotional human being, but as a ball player, Ron Artest is unbelievable. I thought Kevin Durant, until crunch time, played phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, the Thunder was sunk and Jeff Green sort of kept them afloat offensively early. But then Durant scores a ton of points late first, early second quarter when this became a ball game again. Made some unbelievable plays, and then he seemed to disappear in the last 5 minutes or so in overtime. Really, it wasn't his shot. Everybody talked about the shots he missed. To me, he just wasn't involved. Went and stood in the corner a lot, and to me, that was a little bit troubling. His shot's going to come. Kevin Durant can drop kick the ball into the basket. To me, getting involved in the offense and being aggressive and staying sort of the focal point is what I want out of Kevin Durant.
But here's the thing. I think he was in the corner because Artest was in the corner, and that makes it 4-on-4. Mm-hmm. And others got to contribute when you're setting it up like that.
And they did. Thabo Thomas all of a sudden's got some openings. I mean, they're throwing the ball inside to Thabo Thomas. One other thing about Durant, though, is the shot at the end of in overtime when he's got a shot sort of in the lane. The Lakers did a great job. They send Andrew Bynum running at him. Andrew Bynum's a 7-footer whose reach is equal to Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant's shot, he doesn't shoot a Kevin McHale jump shot or Kevin Garnett for that matter, way up there. His shot's more in front of him, so that altered that shot. And then the three-pointer, it looked like he was settling for a 28-footer, which Kevin Durant, we've seen him, he has that range, but I'm not sure that's the shot that you want. Finally, guys, we wondered what a Scott Brooks Thunder team would look like with a full training camp, and we see it now. And doesn't this look a lot like what PJ Carlesimo had hoped his Thunder team would look like, John?
Yeah, good defense, because that's the equalizer when you're trying to figure out other things. If you have good defense, your reward is you get to play offense. But Scott Brooks is right, Barry. Last night he said we played 4 games. I'm proud of him for 4 games. Great effort for 4 games, and who are we to argue with that?
Well, and to me, it's a little bit encouraging. I think the offense will eventually come, maybe not even this year, but Westbrook, Durant, Jeff Green, they're going to get better and better, and offensively is part of that. So they're going to get pretty good on offense. Getting that defensive mentality. Phil Jackson said something in pregame, just talking about the Thunder. He didn't pass himself off as an expert or anything. He said, just offhand, he said, it looks like this coaching staff's made a new commitment to defense. To me, that was encouraging to hear for the Thunder. When you look at Thabo Thomas, when you look at Sefolosha, they're getting a lot better on defense. When you look at the young core, you think this has got a chance to be a really good offensive team. But right now, it's a better defensive team than offense.
Well, and I think, too, it's interesting you mentioned Sefolosha and Thomas, who were so big last night. But, guys, some of the plays that I was most impressed with were those stars, were Westbrook, Green, Durant. Green had that what looked like it was going to be an alley-oop in transition. He runs out of nowhere and snags that ball. When you've got your stars, guys that are your offensive, they're your offensive engine, and when they provide some defense, get some steals, get in some passing lanes, to me, that's a mentality. Those guys have now decided we're going to be good defensively too, and that just translates to the whole team, I think. When you've got those role players that are going to play it, when your stars are going to play it, that's a sign of good things to come.
Thanks, guys. That's all for this edition of the Press Row. But for more perspective on Kevin Durant's night and big shots with the game on the line, check out John Rohde and Jenny Carlson's dueling video commentaries on News OK.